Hi students, Mr. Dawson here. In this video, I will discuss different management styles. In the world of work, you will encounter many different types of bosses and supervisors. This is going to be a challenge. Some supervisors, bosses have a clear, distinct, successful leadership style, and some don't. What I will discuss in this video is how you can adapt, adjust, be flexible, and be successful in the workplace no matter who you have to work with. Because you have to do this and you can. I say that and make a declarative statement about that. And I make the declaration you can do this no matter what. Because at times you're going to work with a challenging supervisor. You're going to work with a person that may not be perfect. It may actually have some attributes that just rub you the wrong way. But again, you are considering your growth, your career, your long term goals. And again, we're going to go over several challenging types of management styles. So let's begin with the confused boss. I actually had a confused boss. So, a confused boss is a boss who is not clear in their directions, who will give you conflicting orders or directives. And in this case, communication is key. When dealing with or managing up a confused boss, get a clear understanding of what is expected of you. Get a clear understanding of the task. That way, you can avoid a person being angry with you yet later or giving you conflicting instructions or directions. Repeat back to them what they want. As you complete their task, check in with the person. So again, this is all about communication, and actually more communication will probably come from you. So don't get frustrated with the person, work with the person, talk to the person, and again, communicate with the person even if it's more from you than them, and then that way you have a good or even better, stronger working relationship. Because here, for me, I would strongly suggest is a clear indication that you just have to, and it's on you, strengthen the communication between you and the confused boss. Next up is the shouter boss. This is another negative supervisor, but that's okay. You can manage the shouter boss. You simply have to figure out and determine when the person is stressed. When are they elevated to a point where they're shouting? I once had a shouter boss. Uh, each time a quarterly report was due, and what came with the quarterly review was an inspection. Our supervisor, who was actually he was a pretty good supervisor, he would get so flustered. He would start yelling and so then staff, well, we decided to confront in a staff meeting, and we did this in a very strategic way. After one of our more recent quarterly reviews, and we again passed it successfully, we brought up the fact that we wanted to go into the next review with a different strategy. And we talked about how we would prepare differently for this meeting and review. And we even brought up that there was elevated stress in the workplace. And we subtly talked about our supervisor being more agitated, and we were concerned, and we wanted to again reduce the stress in the workplace, and we wanted to have a more harmonious workplace. And our supervisor, being our supervisor, and he's quite smart, realized and even apologized to us. and he admitted he knew when he was yelling, but he figured that was the best way to be effective. And we let him know, no, we will work even harder if we are all harmonious. And we talked about that we will all just come together, but we don't need to be yelled at. So that worked. And again, if you show you have good output and even great output without being yelled at, your boss hopefully will adjust. And I believe they will. Next up is the co-boss or co-bosses. So in some cases in the workplace, you may have multiple bosses. You may have bosses on the same level, or you may have bosses that are in different levels. Communication is key here, and may I also add, understand the work pyramid. Understand the hierarchy in the workplace. Now, if you're dealing with co-bosses and they're both on the same level, communication is key. If you get two orders or three directives at the same time, communicate with all bosses and let them know of the order of the uh, directives that you have. And maybe even put them in a list of priorities in your head, but communicate with them and let them know you have multiple directives, and maybe suggest you're going to tackle one, two, and three in a certain order, and let each person know. And then if there's any issue, let your bosses direct you, which is more important and second most important, and maybe third most important. But again, here, communication is key. Do not get flustered. Do not get mad. Again, just reach out to the supervisor and let them know, supervisors, that you have conflicting, or not conflicting, but you have a list of duties to accomplish, and you will accomplish in this order, and just let them know. Now, if you have co-bosses and one boss is higher up in the hierarchy within the organization, uh, I like to say that person, the position of higher authority, they get the priority. And in some cases, you have to remind both bosses that you have a directive, you have a request from a higher boss, and let both bosses know that you have these duties to do and you're going to accomplish in that order. Now, if the higher boss says, well, you can do the other task first, then you do that task. Again, the key here is communication. Talk to your supervisors. Don't feel as though they're picking on you or they're just overwhelming you. No, no, they're not. So again, at times in the workplace when you have several tasks to do, create a list. Put them in order of importance and just complete the tasks. Let the supervisors know as you're working on the tasks. Again, you're getting the work done. So that's what you want to focus on. You want to have the ability to create a checklist in your head. I read a great book called The Checklist Manifesto, where when you feel as though you're overwhelmed, one key idea is to put a checklist in order. You can even write a checklist down, but create a list of all the work you have to do. And as you complete each assignment, each task, just check it off and have a small victory that you've accomplished the task. Next up is the grouchy boss. Now, the grouchy boss is the angry boss, the negative boss. I gotta say this, for some, no matter what you do, they're going to be grouchy. So you have to manage this person. Communication is key here, but in a different way. Now, in managing the grouchy boss, I would suggest you be as productive as possible. Be as busy as possible. Do your work and excel. Don't let their negative demeanor, their grouchy attitude, even their words throw you off your game. Have you be more productive. I mean, unproductive, less productive. That's what I want to say. Again, always work at the very top of your game. And if anything, hopefully with your hard work, you will avoid the ire, the fire, the negative words from this boss. Again, I've found in many cases when I've managed a grouchy or a negative person, I just really performed well. I just did my job, did it well, and just really produced. And unfortunately, what happened was that negative, grouchy boss would give their attention, their full attention, to those who weren't working as hard. So that's how I was able to manage that. And may I add, if you find yourself in a workplace where the boss is just negative and natchy and grouchy, this may be a sign it's time to move forward. Now, you're not going to quit. No, 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 no. Never quit a job. You're going to resign. What I mean by that is begin to interview for a job, for your next job, I should say. Start to research your next move. Start to apply for your next move. As you begin to interview and you score a couple of interviews, you are one step closer to your next opportunity. This will help you manage the negative workplace and that grouchy boss, because as you quietly, secretly plan to move forward, you're going to be able to deal with the negative workplace, or let's say the negative boss, differently, because you know inside you're one step closer to leaving this environment, or better yet, not having to manage that grouchy boss. Now, let's talk about some positive bosses. The first is the agreeable boss. This is the nice boss. This is the boss that listens. This is the boss that agrees with you. Again, agreeable boss. This is the boss that gives you positive feedback. You know, they are a nurturing boss. And again, this boss works with you. They want the best for you and they believe in your growth. So be aware of this boss, work very hard from this boss. And again, you want to support this boss because this boss is supporting you. The next positive boss I want to talk about is the visionary boss. Now, this is the boss who is working very hard and they have a vision. And again, I fully believe that bosses in the workplace, they know things you don't know. They're the boss. So they have goals you may not be aware of. And at times, you may not quite understand their motivation. You may not understand why you're doing a particular task or you have a particular new assignment. But keep in mind, this is a positive situation. When you work for that visionary boss, they are planning the future. They're and at times when living in the present, it is hard to see the future. But I have an idea for this. As you yourself develop long-term personal and professional goals, you will you will see the vision. You may not quite understand the vision, but you will, let's say, understand the importance of long-term plans and vision making. So, in working with this visionary supervisor, you want to show your ability to be flexible and to work towards the future, because it will come. Advancement and moving forward will come, and you want to be a part of it. Trust and believe. You want to be that positive person that is contributing to the growth and towards the progress of your company, your firm, because either you're part of it or you're not. And believe me, you want to be a part of the growth. You don't want to be the individual they determine, hey, do we really need this person? No, you want to show you're there for the long haul. Next positive boss is the Democratic boss. Now, this is the boss that believes in democracy. And what I mean by that is they like input from everybody, which is positive. Yes, it is. Now, this requires communication as well, and this requires you to contribute. So, in a staff meeting or in job functions and tasks and work, you are required with the Democratic boss to contribute. Not only your words, but your work. So again, this is a boss that believes that everyone should pitch in and everyone should help and everyone should contribute. So be prepared to contribute. If they select you or they call on you, be that person ready. Don't see this as a negative, as, oh, they're picking on me. No, 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 no. You're being given an opportunity to contribute. So This is the time to overachieve. Give 120%. 100% is not enough. You want to give extra, and you have it. Next up, in the positive category, is the commander boss. Now, this is the supervisor that is a stoic, stern leader. They give out directions, they give orders, they expect reports. They may give that command just one time, but have an understanding of what is expected of you and get the job done. Now, they may not celebrate every victory with you. They may not pat you on the back for everything you do, but they are watching. So, with the commander, recognize that management style and get the job done. Now, at times, working for that commander boss is a little daunting because, hey, as people, we like to be recognized. We like to be rewarded. We like to be told, hey, you're doing a good job. And with the commander boss, it may not come as often as you want it to. But trust and believe. A commander boss recognizes talent and hard work, and they will reward. It may not be in words, but it may be in a raise. It may be in a promotion, and you may get it quietly. And again, it may not be balloons and a birthday cake or a cake, but again, a commander boss does recognize talent and hard work. All right, next and last is the pace setter boss. Now, the pace setter boss is the boss that sets the pace. They're not afraid to jump right in and do the work right with you. And they will always bring a high level of energy, a high level of completion. You can learn a lot from this person. Don't take it as a negative, like, oh, they're just doing it because they're the boss or they're the owner. No, these are driven individuals. And you can learn from these driven individuals because they've achieved where they are because of what they're demonstrating. This is a time to learn and model the behavior of successful people. I know this because this is what successful people do. So again, latch on to that pace setter, learn from that pace setter. Don't take it as a negative. Take it as, hey, they are showing some behavior, some actions, and some wording that I can utilize. I can actually strengthen. Now, in conclusion, I've talked about several types of management styles and several types of bosses. Some are positive, some are negative. The main thing, your priority is to have the ability to manage both. Your priority is your career, and it's up to you to cultivate that career. Now, there's going to be some ups and downs. There's going to be some great bosses you're going to learn from, and there's going to be some bosses that challenge you to strengthen your inner resolve. Because again, you're on a journey here. You're on a journey towards your retirement. You're on a journey towards the future, however that retirement looks like. But again, you can manage challenging supervisors in the workplace. Why I know this? Because in your future, you're going to look back on your career and realize you did a good job no matter what. And actually, you're going to look back on the more challenging uh, aspects of your job is, wow, I did manage that really well. And again, as I've said, this is actually providing you education that you can share with your family and friends and let them know, throughout the ups and downs, you did it.